Welcome back, tennis fans. Because what just happened in the California desert has sent absolute shockwaves through the entire WTA Tour. Indian Wells 2026 is officially on fire. The so-called tennis paradise just turned into a battlefield, and this wasn't even a final. This was a round of 64 clash that felt like a Grand Slam semi-final. The slow hard courts, the scorching desert air, the electric crowd, and at the center of it all, a collision between two forces heading in completely opposite directions, yet both equally dangerous on one side. The meteoric rise of the Philippines' brightest star, Alexandra Ela, on the other, the explosive, battle-tested Ukrainian powerhouse, Dayana Yastramska. And trust me, the entire WTA is still processing what unfolded. But before we break down the tactical chess match, the shot selection, the momentum swings, we need to understand why this match mattered so much. Because this wasn't just another second-round encounter. This was a statement match. Let's rewind 12 months. Alexandra Ela was ranked outside the top 140, grinding on the ITF circuit, fighting through W75 events, trying to translate junior dominance into professional survival. Fast forward 1 year, and everything changed. Historic wild card run to the Miami Open semifinals. Victories over Grand Slam champions, a WTA 125 title in Guadalajara, first tour-level final on the grass in Eastbourne. Top 100, then top 50, now world number 31. The highest-ranked Filipina in history. This isn't hype anymore. This is reality. She arrived in Indian Wells seated at a WTA 1000 event for the first time in her career, carrying the hopes of a nation and a rapidly growing global fan base that turns every stadium into a home arena. And waiting across the net, Dayana Yastramska, former world number 21, three-time WTA champion, Australian Open semi-finalist in 2024 as a qualifier. When she's locked in, she doesn't just beat opponents, she overwhelms them. Heavy baseline artillery, fearless shot-making, 0 hesitation. Ranked 52nd coming into this match, she had already adjusted to the tricky high-bouncing Indian Wells conditions and looked ready to hunt. Oh, what do we have? An ascending superstar trying to prove her top 32 status is permanent, not temporary, versus a dangerous floater with nothing to lose and everything to gain. And if that wasn't enough, lurking in the third round, world number 4 Coco Gauff, a potential rematch, Dubai quarterfinal revenge storyline. Media hype at a boiling point. The tension inside the stadium was unreal. Filipino flags waving, chants echoing through the stands, energy crackling through. The Desert AIRT felt less like a second-round match, and more like a global event. Ela walked in carrying expectation. Yastramska walked in carrying fire. And what happened next changed the entire landscape of the Sunshine Double. The tension in the desert air was thick enough to cut with a knife. This was not just a match. It was a statement of intent from two very different generations of WTA talent playing for survival in one of the biggest tournaments on Earth. Now, let us transition into our comprehensive deep dive analysis of how this incredible rivalry actually unfolds on the court, the tactical nuances that define this encounter, and what the broader implications are for both players moving forward in this grueling 2026 season. When you analyze the matchup between Alexandra Ela and Dayana Yastramska, you are essentially looking at a fascinating contrast in problem-solving and court management. To understand why the entire WTA is buzzing about this clash, we must break down the specific conditions of Indian Wells. The BNP Paribas Open is famous for its unique court surface. The Plexipave hard courts here are notoriously gritty, taking a lot of the pace off the ball and resulting in extremely high bounces, especially during the heat of the day. The air is dry, but the ball flies, yet when it hits the court, it grabs and slows down. This creates an environment that heavily favors players who can construct points meticulously, generate their own pace, and utilize heavy top spin to push their opponents behind the baseline. For Alexandra Ela, a southpaw from Quezon City who cut her teeth training at the Rafanodal Academy in Spain, these conditions are a brilliant canvas for her game. Ela's signature shot, that thunderous, heavy looping left-handed forehand, is custom-built for the gritty Indian Wells surface. She uses that top spin to yank her right-handed opponents out wide, exposing the ADC court and opening up massive angles. Over the last year, Ela has added incredible depth and weight to her shots. She is no longer just defending, she is dictating. In her preparation for this tournament, practicing with seasoned veterans like Laura Segund and rising stars like Salana Sierra, Ela was clearly focusing on court positioning. Segund, known for her incredible tennis IQ and doubles prowess, undoubtedly imparted wisdom on how to navigate the slow hard courts, emphasizing the importance of moving forward and finishing points at the net when the opportunity arises. We saw Ela implement this beautifully. Her ability to absorb pace and redirect it down the line is rapidly becoming one of the most feared weapons on the women's tour. On the other side of the net, Dayana Yastramska presents a completely different tactical challenge. Yasta plays a brand of first-strike, hyper-aggressive tennis. She looks to flatten out her ground strokes, taking the ball exceptionally early to rob her opponent of time. Her two-handed backhand is a lethal weapon when she is balanced, and her return of serve is designed to immediately put the server on the defensive. However, the slow courts of Indian Wells can sometimes be the kryptonite for a flat hitter like Yastramska. If she doesn't hit completely through the court, the grit slows the ball down just enough for a fast anticipatory mover like Ela to track it down and reset the rally. The psychological warfare in a match like this cannot be overstated. Ela came into this match with a mental edge, having defeated Yastramska in their only previous encounter, a straight sets victory in the quarterfinals on the grass at Eastbourne in June of 2025. Grass, of course, plays completely differently than the slow, hard courts of California. Grass favors the flat hitter, yet Ela managed to neutralize Yastremska's power there, winning 6-1, 6-2. Knowing she had dismantled the Ukrainian on a fast surface gave the 20-year-old Filipina immense confidence, stepping onto a surface that actually favors her own game style even more. But Yastremska is a warrior. You do not reach the semi-finals of the Australian Open without possessing an elite champion's mentality and a profound resilience. She knew that to beat Ela, she had to disrupt the rhythm. She could not allow Ela to dictate with a heavy left-handed forehand cross-court. The tactical imperative for Yastramska was to attack Eala's backhand wing early and often, stepping inside the baseline on second serves and utilizing the drop shot to exploit Ela's deep court positioning. When Yastremska executes this game plan, she looks entirely unplayable. She hits winners from positions where most players are just trying to keep the ball in play. Yet, the defining factor in Ela's recent surge into the top 30 who won has been her emotional maturity and her defensive scrambling. During the Dubai Tennis Championships last month, when she stunned world number 8 Jasmine Paolini, Ela showcased an incredible ability to weather the storm. When her opponent read lines and hits 3 consecutive winners, Ela no longer panics. She resets, trusts her fitness, and makes her opponent play one extra ball. Against a high-risk, high-reward player like Yastramska, making them play one extra ball is often the difference between a forced error and a clean winner. Ela's lateral movement has improved exponentially. She slides into her open stance backhand with the grace of a seasoned clay quarter, absorbing the heavy pace of Yastramska and throwing up deep, neutralizing lobs that reset the point to neutral. Furthermore, we have to talk about the crowd factor, which has become an integral part of the ELO experience on the WTA Tour. The Filipino diaspora is massive, incredibly passionate, and deeply invested in her success. When she played Coco Golf in Dubai, the stadium was packed with fans waving the Philippine flag, chanting and roaring after every single point she won. Goff herself acknowledged the electric atmosphere, noting how tough it is to play against a competitor who has an entire stadium trying to or victory. Here at Indian Wells, a venue known for its massive attendance and vibrant atmosphere, the energy was no different. Fans flocked to practice court 6 just to watch her hit forehands earlier in the week. By the time she stepped onto the match court for this round of 64 clash, the crowd was a boiling cauldron of support. For a young 20-year-old, this level of adoration can be paralyzing. It is a massive weight of expectation. But Ela seems to feed on it. She channels that energy, using the crowd to lift her footwork when her legs get heavy in long rallies. For Yastramska, playing against not just a phenomenal athlete, but a highly vocal crowd requires a level of tunnel vision that is exhausting to maintain. This match was a masterclass in contrasting styles and sheer willpower. It highlighted exactly why women's tennis is in such an incredible era right now. You have established powerhouses, returning champions, and a fearless new generation completely unbothered by the reputations of the veterans across the net. Ela represents a massive shift not just for herself, but for Southeast Asian tennis as a whole. As she mentioned recently, the rise of players from Thailand and Indonesia alongside her is a testament to the growing strength of the region. Ela is the spearhead of this movement, proving that world-class champions can emerge from anywhere if they have the talent, the backing, and the relentless work ethic. The implications of this specific match at Indian Wells stretch far beyond the prize money and the ranking points. The winner of this clash earns the right to step onto stadium court and face the immense challenge of an American Grand Slam champion in Coco Golf. A potential ELA versus golf third-round match is the absolute dream scenario for tournament organizers and broadcasters. It represents the future of the sport. Two wildly talented, incredibly marketable, fiercely competitive young women battling it out in tennis paradise. But to get there, one had to survive the crucible of this round of 64. Yasta wanted to prove her power still reigns supreme. Ela wanted to prove her top 31 ranking is just a pit stop on her way to the top 10. The tactical chess match, the booming ground strokes, the dramatic momentum swings. This match had every single element that makes us love the sport of tennis. As we wrap up this extensive deep dive into one of the most shocking and highly anticipated matches of the 2026 WTA season, it is impossible not to step back and marvel at the current state of women's tennis. The clash between Alexandra Ela and Dayana Yastramska at the BNP Paribas Open is a perfect microcosm of why we watch. It gave us the raw, unadulterated power of a seasoned Ukrainian champion colliding head-on with the tactical brilliance, phenomenal movement, and unyielding baseline grit of the Philippines' greatest tennis export. Regardless of where the dust settles in the California desert this week, one thing has been made abundantly clear. Alexandra Ela has fully arrived. She is no longer just a promising junior, no longer just a lucky wild card, and no longer flying under the radar. She is a top-seeded threat in WTA 1000 events, navigating main draws with the poise of a 10-year veteran. The fact that she is handling the immense pressure of her ranking, the massive expectations of her dedicated global fanbase, and the grueling physical demands of the tour at just 20 years old is nothing short of extraordinary. Looking ahead, the tournament only gets harder from here. The slow, grinding hard courts of Indian Wells will continue to test the physical endurance and mental fortitude of everyone left in the draw. If the tantalizing third-round matchup against Coco Golf materializes, we are in for an absolute blockbuster. Goff, the reigning force of American tennis with multiple Grand Slam titles, will be looking to repeat her dominant performance from Dubai. But make no mistake, Ela is a rapid learner. She processes losses, adapts her tactics, and comes back sharper. Every single match she plays at this elite level adds another layer of experience to her rapidly expanding arsenal. And for Dayana Yastramska, her journey is far from over. Her sheer firepower ensures she remains a massive threat on any given day, capable of blasting through draws and taking down the giants of the sport. I want to turn it over to you, the viewers. What did you think of the incredible tactical adjustments made during this match? Do you believe Alexandra Ela has the complete all-court game required to push past players like Coco Gauff and ultimately crack the WTA top 10 by the end of this year? Or do you think the heavy-hitting veterans like Yastka will find ways to expose the youth of this new generation? Drop your thoughts, your tactical breakdowns, and your predictions for the rest of the Indian Wells draw down in the comments section below. I read every single one of them, and I love seeing the debate from this amazing tennis community. If you enjoyed this comprehensive deep dive breakdown, please make sure to smash that like button as it really helps the channel grow and allows us to keep bringing you these highly detailed analyses. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update as we follow all the breaking news, the massive upsets, and the championship runs throughout this incredible 2026 tennis season. We will be tracking the Sunshine Double closely from the finals here in Indian Wells all the way through the highly anticipated Miami Open next week. Thank you all so much for tuning in, for your continued support, and for sharing this passion for the greatest sport in the